Hello.
Stand still. Ill tidings manifest. Time to say bye. Boom. Beneath the waters lies an endless abyss.
Hello. Actually, this might be good if it goes all into break, I guess. In the future when I get Dahlia. With your new channel update, will your community post be changing at all? Yeah, probably. I won't. I probably won't do like my rotations and like thoughts. I mean, I'll still upload like leaks, of course. I always do that on community posts, but it'll be more laid back.
Stand still.
I might talk about like anime and other stuff instead.
In the abyss's revels, your cries rise.
Why are you farming follow-up planar when Asheville will get new best in slot 1? I'm not farming for Asheville. I'm farming for Faye. You pulling Hiyuki? Yeah. Good morning.
Stand still. Time to say bye. Boom. Ill fate descends. Beneath the waters.
I can't believe y'all going killed your channel.
Stand still.
I just think for some reason
Say bye.
there's been a pretty big rise in people interested in like meta and league talk in HSR in probably the last few patches. And because of that, it has become, I think, a lot more toxic for sure. So that's just natural. You think 4.2 Nova Flares will be competitive with 4.x units? No. I think they will still be weaker than probably all 4.x main DBSs, but they'll be stronger than probably a lot of the 3.x ones. This getting works after leaks dying is funnier? Yeah.
Those moments spent anchored in quiet harbors. I miss them as I miss fleeting hope.
Holy shit, this phase stats are garbage. I mean, this is good. Brother. Is a Sparksy account? No, it's my Firefly one. Mid rolls, but what are you gonna do about it? Better than nothing. Do I have self-modeling? Yeah, I do. I can craft. No, I agree. That was my original prediction. Was that they'd make Hiyuki the same as Ameth. My original prediction was she'd be able to use the Toon Break team, and similar to Ameth, she'll have a negative status team that probably is slightly stronger. I could be wrong though. I could be wrong. Farm Eagle, you tourist. I needed to farm the planars, man. This Fae had purple planars. Does Y'all need 200? No, 200 is just it's a certain threshold people like to hit for 0 cycles, mainly. Does Fae use wind damage or attack? I forgot. Anybody know? Wind? Alright. You pulling Ashvale? Yeah, probably. Ashvale has pretty good vertical investments. I like to get on rerun. I'm over capping on crit rate now. Or is it already increasing my crit rate? Or is that in battle? Switch to this. Oh, it's already increasing my crit rate. Never mind. So I still need more. Ah, fuck. What is that crit damage? The normal relic set is scuffed right now. I do think Faye and Acheron have a decent chance of getting Nova Flared this version. Like, there's no way, man. Come on. Just give it to him. Oh, I have some eagle pieces from farming for Kafka. Ooh. I just want to see. I'm gonna half-assedly build this real quick. Wait, I forgot you want crit on these, no? Oh, fuck yeah. Well, I don't know. Temporary. I mean, that's not bad. I literally didn't need to farm at all. I lost a lot of crit rate, but like obviously I just farm it back with like a better body piece. That wouldn't be hard. Body piece gives how much crit rate? I think 32. So if you add 32 crit rate to this, it puts me at 92 with 120 crit damage. Well, yeah, obviously, guys. Listen, this piece is mid. Like I could just get crit rate on this piece and then I'd be done. How good is Sparksy and Hypercarry without chill? I don't know. I can't answer that because Sparksy Hypercarry is currently getting nerfed without the relation. Is she E2? No. She's E0S1. The E2 is Firefly. The plan is to get Ashvale and then maybe get E2 Faye eventually. And because like I can get Dahlia. I can get Dahlia. Originally I was gonna spend my money on my main account to like get E2 Faye and E1 Hyacine and Yai Sakura, but my main account just doesn't need that. So I've changed it to I'm probably gonna spend money on this account. Yep. I am manifesting these Nova Flared characters. Um, these characters are gonna get Nova Flared in the next year. Trust. Robin and Acheron Nova Flare would be wild. I don't think they'll Nova Flare Robin. That would be crazy though. I'd take it. I'd take it. But given Ashvale's kit direction, I think Ashvale wants an entire team where like everybody attacks. So unlike Nova Flares, where they like slightly change the play style or multipliers, that would be like you kind of need to completely change the character for Robin. Ashvale ended up as a Hunt Herda. That's actually an amazing way to put it. I didn't even think of that. How likely is it for the beta to be on Monday? Pretty likely. It lines up. Ashvale's patch is 2 weeks shorter. This would mean that 4.2 beta came 2 weeks earlier than usual. It lines up. Is this the Nova Flare team? Yup. Hey, low key, let's test the speed of techniques other than Herda. Right, let's start right here. I mean, that's pretty far. That's pretty far. Okay, okay. Bro's bored. I mean, I'm actually curious. I haven't used characters like this in Overworld in forever. I think Firefly was the fastest. Gabby was right about Yao Guang EMC. What? EMC being a budget option to Yao Guang? I don't have Rappa. Hello. I mean, we'll see for sure when the beta comes around, but yeah. Like, it's very likely EMC is just a budget Yao Guang for hyper carry, just like RMC is. I mean, EMC isn't gonna be Yao Guang power creep. I don't know why you guys say this. Genuinely, it's insane, bro. She's not even gonna get her first rerun, and you think they're gonna make free MC better in both Elation teams? Insanity. Would EMC make Aha act? No, not in my opinion. Maybe he does, but I came up with my own theory a little while back, which was that EMC will probably be able to action advance the Aha instant that is already on the action bar. So you get a similar kit to Yao Guang, but it's still weaker than Yao Guang's. Because Yao Guang's is an out of turn, right? Yao Guang is an out of turn Aha instant, which is probably stronger. Elation skill isn't enough for EMC to be a good alternative to Yao Guang, in my opinion. Personally, I don't think triggering one elation skill on a character is enough. They need to actually like do something with Aha instant. Otherwise, Yao Guang would still be significantly better than EMC. But I will say one thing for sure. I think the difference between Yao Guang and Buff Sparkle is probably going to be larger than I originally imagined for Silver Wolf's team. Because you have to think about it, EMC, theoretically, is probably a weaker version of Yao Guang, right? Yao Guang is the premium option to EMC for said team. And then Buff Sparkle is on an even lower tier than EMC because she's not even in the preset teams. So I think Buff Sparkle is about to get like I don't know. I don't think it's gonna look good for Buff Sparkle on Elation teams, other than Sparksy main DPS. Yeah, it's a good thing that Sparkle isn't wanted by Elation characters. By the way, like I've seen a lot of people complaining about this, and it's kind of going back to like the Sunday situation, right? Like yes, I can understand if you wanted a character to be best in slot with maybe a DPS you really like, and it's like two of your favorite characters. But the thing is, Sparkle is so general, and I mean, she elevates Archer so much, and Archer's a free DPS a lot of people got. I mean, why do you want Sparkle to even be best in slot for Elation? Like, you kind of really hurt a free third team with Archer by doing that. AA King Elation chilling is disgusting. Did you see that 3 cause 0 cycle, P? Is that why you're saying it? I saw a 2 cost. Yeah. There's a 2/3 cost video with Buff, Sparkle, Yao Guang, and Sparksy, I think. Is it that one? Wait, it's 2 cost now. Who did they remove? What? Or are we counting or not counting Buff Sparkle? Oh, so it'd be Yao. Yeah, okay. Who did they do the Ting Yun strat of feeding energy into Yao Guang for more AHA instance? They used Asta Ting Yun. Oh my god, they did it. Dude, I've been seeing the Sparksy main DPS meta lately is putting Ting Yun on the team and feeding every single ultimate to what's it called, Yao Guang, so she can just spam trigger AHA instance. Do you think the Doom post was a reason they didn't do another global passive since Cassie? No. I don't think they give a shit about Doom posting about the global passive. Wait, actually, let me check the site. Maybe the Herda has it. Well, on the site, currently the lowest is Buff Sparkle plus Yao Guang with no Battle Pass Lycone. Someone finally removed the Battle Pass Lycones. Is Yao E1 the best vertical for Elation team? I don't know. I don't know what the Elation main DPS Eidolons do. I think E1 Sparksy might be better than Yao Guang's E1 maybe. For a Silverwolf team. Do you think they will buff E2 Acheron? Yeah. They've buffed the Eidolons of legit every Nova Flared character. Don't ask me questions I can't answer, man. But yes, most likely. Do you think Nova Flare Acheron also needs Nova Jiaoqiu? No. It's kind of like Dot. Dot doesn't even need buffed Swan. Dot can just use Cyrene instead of Swan and achieve similar, if not better, performance sometimes. True, Solus. Do you think they will release an EMC replacement at the end of 4.x? No. I've been saying this for quite a while. I don't think there is an EMC replacement because it already exists in Yao Guang. The one possibility I have been slightly open to is they could do what they didn't do for RMC, right? RMC, even though Cyrene is technically the upgrade, it isn't a direct upgrade to RMC's kit because there isn't any other Remembrance true damage buffer who is a hyper carry action advancer. So there is a chance, because they are switching some things up in this version, that they release a future Elation support for Evanesia's team in all likelihood. This wouldn't replace Yao Guang. It would replace EMC in an Evanesia team, right? And that would be like a hyper carry action advancer with stronger buffs, vertical investment, and can action advance AHA instant, right? But I'm still doubtful of even that. I don't think that there's any more quote unquote EMC upgrade. EMC usually brings in a new mechanic. MC usually brings in a new type of damage. We had super break and we had true damage. And I understand people want to cope about merrymaking. However, the reality is Yao Guang was the one who introduced us to a new type of elation buffing. And it wasn't MC this time. This is the first case of this in the history of the game. So, he could have merrymaking. I'm highly doubtful of it though. Yeah, like my guess for the character who is most likely to have merrymaking in the future has been the Elation Sustain. And I'm using the same logic I used to originally predict Cassie's team would get upgrades and it would not stick with Triby and RMC. Right. Sparkle or Sparksy gives crit damage buffing and punchline generation in base kit. Yao Guang is the elation buffer who can be ran on high speed for better AHA instance, and she also has some decent personal damage, and she can also enable AHA instance. So she has her own unique gimmick, which is nice for the team. So the sustain, the last elation buff like missing from this entire thing is a sustain, giving merrymaking, right? Everybody has unique buffs, but there's no merrymaking. So that's my guess. If anybody gets merrymaking in base kit, it is more than likely the elation sustain. This way, you'd be able to get unsaturated buffs across the board, and you max out the value of your best in slot supports. Yeah, like I am. I've gone over this over and over again. People need to stop bringing up Tribby. Like their own headcanon is the only reason they thought Tribby was an actual dedicated support for Cassie. That was never the case. Herta's dedicated support has been Tribby this entire time. You know what I'm saying? And that has not changed. I believe even to this day, Tribby is still best in slot for the Herta. So she accomplished what she was supposed to for her DPS. Tribby is nothing like Yao Guang, and people comparing the two are kind of delusional. Yes, Tribby was made specifically for the Herta. Yeah, literally the only quote unquote synergy between Tribby and Cassie was that Tribby had high HP. And that's it. No joke. That's literally it. Tribby had high HP. She didn't have really synergistic buffs with the team because there were already other people who ended up, you know, giving vulnerability. She has her own res pen and base kit anyways. Like base kit wise, it didn't make sense. But people didn't agree with me back then, but then eventually it happened. I mean, the thing is, Solus, I feel like EMC has to do something with AHA Instant. Because otherwise, he's just going to be so much worse as compared to Yao Guang. Like a Silver Wolf team with Sparksy running EMC instead of Yao Guang. But AHA Instant is now like, you don't get anywhere near as much. It kind of suck. I don't know. Like the only reason Yao Guang can be competitive to buff Sparkle in terms of SP positivity is because of her forced AHA instant in like a 3-man Sparksy Elation team. So it's like, how else would they make EMC best in slot? Especially since he's literally a hyper carry buffer. Like this is already diminishing his value for Silverwolf's team specifically. For Evanesia's team, I'd imagine it's fine. It's probably good to be a hyper carry buffer. But in Silverwolf's team with a sub DPS, like, I don't know. I love to get more supports before the DPS. No need for overly subpar options on release. Yeah, and I find it kind of weird, right? Because when people use the logic of why it is Sparksy and Yao Guang would get power crept out of a Cassie team, for some reason they don't apply this logic to Ashvale, which I find very weird for some reason. Like, people are like, oh, no way they'd change it up and release the EMC upgrade early. But then it's like, Ashvale is literally right there. Anon said we're not supposed to get his main DPS for fucking forever. So are we now going to say that when he gets his main DPS, he's going to get power crept in like 2 or 3 patches when his main DPS releases? Because he was too far away and he should have been after the main DPS, right? Like, are we really going to apply this to everything now? Because in my opinion, it is clear they are selling teams very differently in version 4 as compared to previous ones. EMC will never be good as RMC no matter what. Because RMC is just a generalist. Generalist action advancer with a very rare buff. It's actually funny that this ended up coming true. I remember like standing 10 toes on this on a stream months ago. Months ago. This must have been like 3.6 maybe. I remember I was having like a heated talk with my chat because my chat was like swearing to God that because of HMC being strong and then RMC being even more valuable meta wise, EMC would be more valuable than RMC. And I was standing 10 toes on the fact that RMC is probably going to stay the best value MC despite EMC, because EMC is looking more like an HMC situation, right? It's like, even if EMC is stronger for his niche over other alternative options as compared to RMC, he just doesn't have the same general value. Just doesn't. So I do think RMC is still gonna hold the crown of the most valuable MC. EMC can be better? Nah, he can't really. Because for EMC, and for what he needs to do for Elation teams, is Elation buffing specifically and Elation gimmicks to be better than like generalist options. So if this is the case, like, you could be right, and then EMC would be the most disgusting power creep ever. Because you're giving him generalist buffs, action advance, aha instant action advance, you're giving him elation specific buffs, all of this, but that is very unlikely. Very unlikely. Yeah, I already had someone in my comments saying, "Oh, I don't want to hear about how valuable Yao Guang is when she's only 30% better than any other option." When you were complaining about Saridra, like, these, I swear to God, bro, people do not understand context. They do not understand nuance. Saridra's competition can be power crept by generalist supports. You know what I'm saying? Like, her DPSs can easily be getting other supports. And buff Sparkle. Keep in mind, Saridra is only 4 patches old, right? She's only 4 patches old. And buff Sparkle is now at the point of being competitive with a Saridra for Phanon, right? So when it comes to Elation teams, the likelihood of them power creeping Yao Guang completely out of Elation teams in a 4 patch time span is like non-existent. Yao Guang is probably staying on these elation teams for like 2 years. It's similar to a Cyrene and Mono Rem situation. You know what I'm saying? Isn't it more like 100? Well, we're talking about Silverwolf's team, and by the time Silverwolf's team around, we will have EMC. So yes, Yao Guang is astronomically stronger for elation DPSs as compared to something like Tribi, but now we're gonna have EMC, and that's probably gonna be the second best option. So that's why I'm saying like 20-30%. That's a safe, I'd say low ball safe estimate of how much better Yao Guang would be over EMC. I think it'll be more in probably Silverwolf's team, and then the jump will obviously be less in Evanesia's. Because specifically, the synergy between Sparksy and Yao Guang is what makes her so valuable with Silverwolf. But you have no Sparksy in a Evanesia team. So, I don't know. Ceredra for Anoxa if you have Cyrene, yeah. How do you feel about the shelling for Elation? I don't care that much. I've seen someone say they won't pull Sparksy because they think Sparksy is getting. Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. And this is the entire point of why I made the recent video I did. It's like mindless doom posting without being able to present any evidence, any chain of thought that would lead you to this outside of like surface level thinking, right? Oh, Cassie got teammate upgrades over time, so this means the exact same thing would happen to Silverwolf, and I'm just gonna ignore all the synergy between Yao Guang Sparksy and that duo with Silverwolf, right? I'm gonna ignore everything in the kits and just doom post because Cassie got new teammates. That's like 99% of Yao Guang discussion. And it's so it's annoying. It's annoying. Is Irene worth the pulls for main DPS Evernight? Yeah. Yeah. And it's crazy, like, it's still so incredibly common. Because when this leak finally came out, right? This preset team leak showing that Yao Guang is on Silverwolf's team. Literally, one of the top comments on the Honkai Star Rail Leaks Reddit is still someone trying to cope and say that Yao Guang is going to be best in slot for Evanesia and not for Silverwolf. They're still doing this. They just got. Keep in mind, the person who leaked this preset team is probably Anon. A lot of people don't realize this, but Galaxy said it's from an old friend, right? This is likely Anon leaks sending a leak to Galaxy, and these people still do not believe it. Actually, you know what? I'll check out the Reddit post right now, just so I can see what the comment exactly is. All right, let's see. Oh wait, there's just a lot of people pretty happy. So Sparksy should be best in slot. Yes for Silverwolf team. Comment for now. So already, people are trying to say Sparksy will get replaced in a Silverwolf team, and she's only best in slot for now. Yai and Silverwolf are two Elation DPSs with two different teams. 87 upvotes. Evanesia's team is leaked to have EMC and Yao Guang, and since Silverwolf uses one of them, there's going to be a one character overlap either way. Thank you! Someone with a brain! So, for some reason, I don't know why, for some God knows whatever reason, I haven't made a video on this topic yet. So many people are trying to argue that, what's it called? Um, Evanesia is going to get a full, separate, dedicated team with her own dedicated supports, and Silverwolf will get her own dedicated Elation supports, and so there would be no overlap between supports. And I'm just sitting here wondering how in the world, what made you think this, right? Because if you look at the Chrysos heirs, how much overlap is there between people who want Cyrene as a best in slot, right? If you look at the HP scalers, how many HP scalers is there an overlap in where they want Hyacine, right? Like, this is normal, but these people think Evanesia is going to get full dedicated supports, and then Silverwolf is going to get her own full dedicated supports. However, not only this, they're then going to also power creep the current Silverwolf SP supports later down in the patch. How many Elation characters do you think we're getting? Fucking a bajillion? Like, this is easily the most annoying thing that I really hate about having mono rem on my Cassie account is that it's so hard. Like, I can split them up and they will clear endgame because it's an E2 Evernight and an E2 Cassie. But I can't share Hyacine. I can't share RMC, right? I can't share Cyrene. These guys have the exact same fucking best in slot supports. Yeah, exactly. Which is why it makes no sense. Like, for their predictions to come true, we need to get probably like 10 plus Elation characters, which I think is a little crazy, personally. 10 plus Elation characters from one version, that's that's 5 patches worth of pure Elation characters at minimum. Like, there's no way, man, personally. But yeah. No, I don't know. I don't think we'll get a remembrance character. It'd be weird. I talked about it on stream before. If they make a remembrance character, the most likely case scenario is they finally make a stronger version of RMC, so a hypercarry action advancer who's limited with true damage. But if they do that, I don't think it's good for Seri. Like, I'm all for, like, you guys know, I'm definitely someone who is open about Ceridra's value getting power crept. But I feel like that would just go too far. Because then you'd have RMC upgrade, and then you'd have Buff Sparkle. That's definitely going to be Phaenon's best in slot sustain team, no matter what. Because he has no other like true damage buff, which is just way too strong for him. Because, for example, Buff Sparkle is what a new support would have to hold up to, right? Buff Sparkle is crit damage, res pen, right? Wait, is it not here? I guess it's not here. Let's see. Oh yeah, 45% attack, 10% res pen. You then have her skill point positivity. You have 30% vulnerability, and then you have just energy and crit damage buffing and other shit. Like Buff Sparkle's buffing is way too strong. It's a bad precedent in my opinion for the game. And like keep in mind, I didn't want Buff Sparkle to make it to live. Okay? I'm pretty sure I made a couple videos saying that I was confident she'd get nerfed in her beta because it was a very bad sign of how strong future harmonies are probably going to be. And now you have fucking hunt characters of all things, like Ashvale. Dude, Ashvale is on the same level of amping as Tribby. Like, what? Dude, this is a hunt character, bro. His E1 can sometimes be better than Tribby, too. His S1 is also better for amping than Tribby. Like, what? Like, what are we doing, bro? Buffed Bronya will be as good as Buff Sparkle. I will be elated if they ever buff Bronya. This account has an E4 Bronny. I'm so close to E6. I mean, people will do them anyways. It's whatever. Yeah, I think the most likely case of a new Harmony who is probably broken as shit, even outside of their niche, is probably the follow up support. If follow up does get a new support and it isn't like a Robin Nova Flare, then that is the most likely case scenario of broken ass Harmony character you can put on anyone's team, shits on endgame content. That's probably going to be my guess. You said you wouldn't be making more discussion videos? Yeah. Well, yeah. I'm tired of it, man. It's better to just keep it to the streams. I genuinely don't want another Harmony Fua support. I mean, I don't see it going any other way, Solus. Unfortunately. I do not see it going any other way. My prediction, Pearl is for Himiko, Nihilux is an Elation sustain. Who's going to be the follow-up sustain? In my opinion, it's probably going to be either Avon, no. I think they're going to Nova Flare old Avon, maybe. I could be wrong. But follow-up probably does need a new sustain or Nova Flared Avon. and it'll be literally the exact same as Fei Xiao's team. Because Fei Xiao's is double hunt, harmony prez, so it'd probably be the same. Hello, I come from the last video. Was planning to pull Ashvale since I started a challenge act. Are you grabbing his light cone or think it's better to save up later for his DPS? Yes. I am considering getting Ashvale verticals. However, it's probably going to be on his rerun because he doesn't need it right now for the challenge I'm doing, I believe. But yes, S1 and E1 I'll probably go for at some point because, I mean, it's bait, but I'm a fish. You know? 24 to sometimes 36% vulnerability and then 20% on the light cone. It is pretty valuable. My current plan for my Asheville team is RMC, Pela, and Donhung PT. And my Elation team will use Gala Sustain with Yao Guang Sparkle. To be honest, now that I think about it, my challenge account ended up benefiting from the changes to Asheville because it increased his value more as a sub DPS and it decreased the value of action advancers with him. So in the end, it was actually more beneficial for me. Do you think Elation is going to be dependent on Lycone? Depends what you mean by dependent, man. It's not just Elation. Literally every single path of character in this game has like the same jumps from alternative to premium. In fact, Elation is currently on the lower side. Sparksies is at like 25% currently, 25 to 30%, and Yao Guang's is at like less than 10%, which is less than a majority of Paz currently. Thanks. I was also planning on Pela with Windset, Moze, and Donhung PT to supercharge his energy to spam ultimate, which I guess he's going to do whenever his DPS releases. Yeah, exactly. Better than Rem? Currently, yeah, it's better. Is E1 Sparksy better than her light cone? For herself? No. For Silverwolf, maybe. I don't know. Yes. I've talked about this before. You can take Sparksy's light cone one of two ways. The one way is that it's complete bait, and the max skill point cap won't do fuck all. The other is in the future, with more Elation teammates with Sparksy, you will get more Elation skills that go off, leading to more SP generation. So in this case, you would overcap on skill points once Sparksy's turn comes, if you didn't have her light cone. So you can take it as, oh, they're probably going to make Silverwolf SP positive, maybe through her Elation skill, and so I might want to grab this light cone. Something like that. It depends. Yeah. If you believe Silverwolf isn't going to generate skill points, which, to be honest, I think is the least likely option, then you can get by without the Lycone completely fine. But in my opinion, the more likely option, Silverwolf generates skill points, Yao Guang generates skill points, Sustain Huohuo Nova Flare is now probably neutral or SP positive, and the Lycone actually matters. Do you grind SU in your ult account? No. I don't want to bother unless I'm like forced to. Can I ask for some full advice? Sure. Yeah, I'd get E2 Cyrene. The second I saw you have E2 Sparkle, please get Cyrene. Run Phanon Sustainless with the Sparkle and the Ceridra and Cyrene, and it's gonna come. It's gonna be disgusting, bro. E2 Cyrene, I believe now, has become a lot more valuable because of buff Sparkle. Before, it was like E2 Cyrene is nice, but the extra stack gen is really just to make Phanon get his ultimate faster. There aren't really many other Harmony options who can like exponentially buff him. But now, because of buff Sparkle, being able to get E2 Cyrene, put Sparkle on the team, and still live and get a Phanon ultimate and sustainless is like highly valuable. Highly valuable. What if Sparkle is with Archer? I mean, they didn't say she was. If Sparkle is with Archer, then yeah, you know. Still, E2 Cyrene is like the next best investment for a Phanon at that level, anyways. I can understand it. But if they have Sparkle freed up, then, I mean, it's free. Well, yeah, you can also pull for fun, Home Press. Like, you definitely can do that. Like, you don't need to pull for meta at all. But it's just up to you, man. I'm always going to give the best meta take. Or what I think is the best meta take. Don't you think it's weird that the devs overtuned Evernight but nerfed Ashvale, who was getting released 6 months later? No. Once again, I've said this, and I could be wrong. I just don't think they want any more Evernight or Anoxa situations. They don't see Evernight or Anoxa situations as a good thing, likely. Like, they have no problem with making a sub DPS a good main DPS. But making the sub DPS stronger than their dedicated main DPS is another issue in of itself entirely. So they make technically less money. You're suggesting in a mono elation team most of the time Yao Guang would use her basic the same way as Silverwolf, and most of her damage would be based on Aha Instant. For Silverwolf, no. In my opinion, when it comes to Silverwolf, Aha Instant will play a significant role in the damage output, but the Aha Instance in a Silverwolf team, I think, well, you can say it's equally valuable, generating the skill points and thrill resources for Sparksy to consume to generate more punchline. So it's like 50-50 on, I love the elation skills because they provide more damage output, and I love the elation skills because they give more skill points to consume. So Silverwolf benefits from both. Asheville isn't undertuned. He's strong, especially with generalist supports. The problem with Asheville is he doesn't have crazy vertical investment like, let's say, in Evernight E2. Right, he doesn't have that. He doesn't have dedicated supports like Evernight does, with Cyrene and RMC being way better than any other option. Shit like that. So he can get buffed in the future indirectly and become a lot better as hyper carry. However, I said this in my last Asheville video. I think Asheville, in terms of just looking at main DPS capability, is going to be the weakest in this entire version. He will probably be the weakest. We're playing Future Star Rail this version so far. Yeah. I don't know. At the end of the day, I mean, you guys can already see it with me. I'm pulling Yao Guang no matter what. I really don't give a shit. Like, I do not have it in me to wait until near the end of the version for the slight possibility I'm wrong and they power creep Yao Guang and Elation teams. Because by the time it's a new version, guess what? I don't give a shit about Elation teams anymore, bro. Okay? We're 1 or 2 patches from a new version. Who fucking cares? I'm not about to play a scuffed Elation team for nearly a year in fear of one unit being slightly stronger than my Guang. Others can have different opinions. Maybe if they're like a die-hard Silverwolf lover, die-hard Evanesia lover, they want to make sure they constantly get every single best in slot dedicated teammate. You know, you can do that. I'm not. I don't care. I'll trust my own judgment. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, right? Who gives a shit? How much am I actually going to lose, right? How much am I going to lose? I have to put in one more limited cost in this entire version if I'm wrong. That isn't even that big of a deal, right? That's like 1 or 2 patches worth of pulls, worst case scenario. I'll do it if the power creep is that severe over Yao Guang. Yeah. That's what I feel about pulling reruns. Yeah, I only pull reruns on characters for like E2 investment if I really like them. Which I did on my well, actually I got really lucky on my Feint account getting Phanon account getting E2 Fae. I remember that. But like Anoxa, I went all in into his Eidolons, went into rerun. Keep in mind, I could have gotten E2 Evernight instead. I got this guy's E6 instead. So I got E6 Anoxa instead of what could have been E2 Evernight with Hyacine. Fucking insane blunder, but I just like him that much, right? I know it was dumb. I know it was stupid. I admit it. But hey, I fucking love Anoxa, man. Yeah, that's the other thing. That is the other thing. If you don't care about zero cycles, technically, a lot of what I'm saying in my videos and the content I make doesn't even apply. You know what I'm saying? Like, once again, it is an E2 Cassie, but I can run a hyper carry E2 Cassie with RMC and like Ruan May probably, and then Hyacine, and get a 1 or 2 cycle against MOC. Like, you do not need full best in slot teams, bro. You don't even need the Eidolons. Yeah, the Eidolons help. Remove the Eidolons, it's probably now like a 4 cycle. I agree. But it still clears. And Cassie's about to be a year old. Yeah, exactly, Plan. Will you pull E2 Silverwolf on a future rerun? Yeah, probably. E2 Sparksy's crazy good. Okay, hot take. I don't like E2 Sparksy because, like, okay, when I look at Eidolons for a character, something I personally care about is it makes them strong enough to function on their own without needing best in slot supports, right? But when you look at Sparksy's Eidolons, if you don't use Yao Guang with Sparksy, you lose so much value from her Eidolons, which kind of annoys me, personally. What do you guys think about that? Like, her Eidolons, if you do not use Yao Guang, fall off a fucking cliff. I mean, she already falls off a cliff without Yao Guang, but you kind of get what I'm saying. Because let's say you're going for like a zero cycle with E2 Sparksy Yao Guang. Yao Guang's forced Aha instant automatically makes the difference in a zero cycle of 10 punchline and 2 extra turns for Sparksy, plus like significantly more thrill gen. I'd like that, Regnet. Anoxa's not a bad candidate. E2 man saying he hates E2. I mean, it's like, can you blame me? I just don't like E2s like that. I like E2s like Phanons. E2 Phanon is like, oh, look at me. I don't need any best in slot supports anymore. I carry myself. Those are my favorite. Although Phanon is brain dead, to be fair. I feel like main DPS's Eidolon investment would be better, but if you only want Sparksy as your main DPS, then it might have higher value. Still need Yao Guang though, yeah. It does increase Sparksy's Eidolon value for Silverwolf teams specifically quite a bit. The E1's extra punch line and the E2 extra turn. So it synergizes equally well with main DPS and sub DPS. It just sucks that it's like, if you don't have Yao Guang, this shit drops off a cliff.
Make a wish.
Yeah. That's just a Phanon specific thing, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm still mad to this day with how shit my days Eidolons were, bro. Oh my god, what a scam. Yeah, exactly, Chad. The majority of Phanon, like, difficulty against endgame is getting the base rotation off and killing at the right turn to save the perfect amount of turns in the second cycle, or sorry, the second phase, something like that. And that's it. And knowing how to counter. Like, for example, when Phanon first came out, people had absolutely no clue like how broken he was against Lygus because of his counter. Like, they genuinely had no idea. Lygus clears with Phanon when he first came out. Phanon was needing like 6 cost to get a 0 cycle. I don't know if you knew this already, but apparently every time an AHA instant ends, you gain punchline equal to the number of elation characters you have. So if you're running 3 elation, you'd get a free 3 punchline at the end of an AHA instant, is what you're saying? Oh, I didn't know that, if that's the case. We all know who folded for my day. Eidolon's chill. Isn't Phanon 2 E2 an exception more than the rule? Well, no, not really. Everknight's E2 is equal to Phanon's. Well, it's more accurate to say Everknight's E2 is slightly weaker than Phanon's, but the combination of E1, E2 is competitive with Phanon's. No, I agree, Anon. I have been someone who has been saying this for quite a while. Firefly's E2 could definitely use a buff. People in my comment sections when I made my Firefly videos were saying, oh, there's no way they add the E2 to base kit, that'd be too strong. But like, the E2 is pretty conditional. And it's every other turn instead of like, for example, Phanon. Let's say you have Phanon in Pure Fiction. He literally gets an extra turn every other turn with his E2. You know what I'm saying? He goes from 7 turns at E0 without Saridra to 14. Like, there's no way you're going to try and genuinely convince me that Firefly E2 is too broken to be added to a base kit. Do you pull E2 My Day because you were scammed or because you like him a lot? It was because I liked him a lot. I always talk about this a lot, but like I find My Day to be like probably the coolest looking dude character from any gacha I've played, and I also think he's hot as shit. But he's mainly like the only exception. I mean, there's others I like to some extent, but nowhere near as much as My Day. Which makes me that much more mad that he kind of got shafted. Feels like as of recent, E2s have been getting better and better for DPSs. Yeah, I'm pretty excited to see what like Silver Wolves and Evanesias do. Congrats on coming out. I've been open about this for quite a while. I've made a ton of community posts about it too. I really love My Day. I feel like they should have made My Day's E6 his E2. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, his E6 should have been his E2. The problem is his E2 isn't bad. It's just that his E2 got completely shafted by the fact that they never went out of their way to make Hyacine synergize with him. So he ended up getting fucked over. His E6 isn't that much of an upgrade though. No, his E6 would be a pretty decent upgrade. His E6 changes the Godslayer charge from 150 to 100. So specifically in a team with probably Cyrene Saridra, you would be able to get 6 out of 6 Godslayer double skills significantly more frequently as compared to right now where his E2 is damn near useless because he barely gains any charge from it since Hyacine's healing is weak. I think that's what My Day's E6 does at least. Let me see. What was he again? Destruction? Yeah. He also saves himself 100 Godslayer at the beginning of battle as well. So he saves himself 100 points by automatically entering it and needs, what is this? From 150, a 33% decrease on the amount of charge you need to get God Slayers. I mean, My Day isn't even that bad for clearing endgame content these days. The problem is if you use anybody else outside of Tribby for his teams, I'm pretty sure he falls off immensely. Like, My Day is one of the best characters to run Sustainless with, but he really wants Tribby. And my E2 My Day account doesn't have Tribby. Which was, it was something, bro. It was something. Oh yeah, I agree. I agree that there is better way to buff his E2. I'm just saying like I wish E6 was E2 instead. But yeah, there's definitely better ways to make a better E2. Like, to be honest, hmm, they should have made it for his E2. He gains double the charge from being attacked. That probably would have been an E2. And it doesn't rely on Cyrene. So he gains double charge from being attacked. Which DPS does your main have? E2 Faye, E2 My Day, and someone else I don't remember. Probably just using Archer temporarily or something. I don't know. Oh yeah, it also has Herda, but I sacrificed all of Herda's relics to build my E2 Fane on, if I remember correctly. Happy March 7th. Thank you.
Any fish taking the bait?
But yeah. Yeah, Kafka's E2 is weaker than her E1 from what I've seen. Quite a bit. Do you think EMC could be a better third slot for Archer than Yao Guang? No. What's your investment priority? If I have Team Cassie, Tribby, Everite, Hyacine, and how much would you recommend to invest? Um, if I'm being completely honest with you, are you going for elation? Because if you aren't going for elation, then I'd probably just kick Cassie out and do Evernight Hyper Carry. Now, if you don't want to do that, it's understandable. Uh, in that case, it'd probably be pick up Cyrene. Actually, no, E1 Evernight and then Cyrene probably. That was not a good time. What wasn't a good time? Who's the best third slot for an Archer? Probably Cypher still. Oh, I see Michikatsu. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I truly believe your best bet is if you don't have an attachment to Cassie, I dead ass just kick her out. Eventually invest into Eidolons on Evernight in her next rerun, and pick up Cyrene. So a total of like 3 cost down the line. Because in E2 Evernight with Cyrene, Hyacine, and like RMC is probably significantly stronger than it take a while for Cassie to catch up. Alright, chat. Gonna end the stream here. Thank you all for stopping by. Hope you have a great day. Hope you have a great night.